Right guys, Shenmue 3 is just 1 week away. 6 days to be precise. There's been a leak though, unfortunately. Best Buy in America and maybe some other places have started selling it early. Which is a bit of a shame for fans really. You know, you're working up to this release of a game that you've been waiting 16 years for or more, and some companies can't fucking keep it in their pants till the day it's supposed to drop. Let's just hope it doesn't affect the sales too much. Apparently there's supposed to be a day one patch, so people that are putting opinions out there, avoid at all costs if you see any kind of reviews that are put out before the release date, because they may not have the day one patch. They may not be playing the final complete build of the game. You know, I prefer there wasn't a day one patch, but that is the situation. Now, you know, usually day one patches are ready to go before release day, so those people might get those patches, but you know, we don't know for certain if there isn't other things that won't be available till day one. But yeah, just avoid. You know, we don't want any surprises being spoiled after waiting so long. You don't want to see any spoilers, so just try and avoid any Shenmue 3 kind of first impressions or reviews or whatever until next week. Of course, there was a demo that was available legitimately via the Kickstarter perk that was out last month. So yeah, obviously there are first impressions and thoughts videos out there already as a result of the demo. But just try and avoid anything that, you know, people are sharing after having played these early releases of these games. So yeah, Best Buy, you bastard! Kind of pissing on our chips a little bit there. But hopefully it won't affect things too badly. I have faith in the game though, so I don't expect, you know, people to be putting reviews out early saying it's rubbish, because I have faith that the game is going to be good. But yeah, it's just it's through a tiny little spanner in the works, but probably not too much. Probably be okay. But really excited for next week. Can't believe it's actually here. Even though we've waited so long and kind of, you know, ruminated on it and thought about it for so many years, it still feels a little bit bizarre to say that Shenmue 3 is coming out next week. That's a sentence for so long we never thought we'd be able to say. Shenmue 3 is coming out next week. Holy shit. So yeah, so it's going to be good. I have faith in it. It looks really nice. Haven't played the demo build because I gave mine away, of course. People will probably know already because I don't have a PC to play it on. But it looks really nice, and from what I've heard people saying, it plays just like the originals, of course with more modern, gorgeous-looking graphics. And but yeah, we wanted it to feel like the originals. I don't think there was any use in kind of updating it in so that it felt more like a kind of a more modern game, because, you know, it just wouldn't fit with the whole point of Shenmue. Really, one of its main selling points, and probably one of its barriers as well to people that are not used to this kind of game. I say this kind of game is kind of out there on its own. But one of the unique things about it is this kind of slower pace to it. You kind of have to breathe in the atmosphere of Shenmue, and you know, the story and the environments and the characters. It has this kind of slower kind of pace to it that's really relaxing, really chilled out, a really kind of meditative almost gameplay experience. And it gives the world a nice rich feeling, great storytelling, of course. But yeah, the original games had that kind of almost plodding feel to it at times, but it grounded you in the world, and it had several different aspects to the gameplay and to the way the game was built that just lent itself well to this feeling of living in that game world. And it comes down to a few key things. One is, of course, the very realistic kind of time cycle. The fourth dimension features heavily in Shenmue, of course, because you have this realistic day-night cycle, but also, you know, you have to take account of the time of day to keep appointments and to find people and things, to see things happening at certain times. So the fact that it uses time in this kind of pretty realistic way to structure your adventure just makes it feel, yeah, like you're living in the Shenmue world. And it adds to the depth of the gameplay experience. And with that comes the tank controls of Ryu. You can use 2 thumbsticks now, so it's a little bit nicer to control, but it does apparently feel very similar to the way that the original is controlled, and I'm happy about that. That's fine. I don't think he needed to mess too much with the feel of the game, in so to speak. You know, it's right to make it feel like it gels with the originals. I think definitely. But just really looking forward to it. Looking forward to finally getting Ryu out of that cave, and yeah, at the end of Shenmue 2, it hinted at some very different aspects to the Shenmue game world and what would happen with it. So again, really try and avoid spoilers, because we know there's going to be some surprises and crazy things happening, but you just don't want that ruined for you before you actually get to it yourself. So I'm certainly going to be trying to do some kind of media blackouts until the release next week. I don't want to have any spoilers. I've even tried to not watch any kind of gameplay footage of it, really. I haven't watched too much of people playing the demo, because I do want it to be as fresh as possible when I first get my hands on it. Some people already have their hands on it. Yeah, I'm looking at you, James. Can't believe some people actually have it already. Motherfucker. But yeah, I can wait a few more days. After waiting 16, 17 years, I can wait 6 days. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I also should be getting a big box of Kickstarter merch. A lot of Shenmue 3 goodies that comes along with the quite ridiculous pledge level that I did for the Kickstarter. I actually pledged, I think it was $750. So it's probably about 600 quid. I don't know. The pound is not very strong at the minute, so it's probably about 750 quid as well. But yeah, $750, which gets me quite a lot of cool Shenmue 3 merch. And apparently, according to an email that I got, that won't be coming at launch. That will be coming a bit later on, apparently, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest. I did kind of want it all in one. That'd be nice, but never mind. It'll get here. Just like the game will. That's fine. Patience is a virtue, and Shenmue fans have a lot of patience. We've had to have. But so that'll be cool. I'll be definitely doing an unboxing video of all that stuff when it comes. A lot of people will already know that I'm actually going to be in Shenmue 3 as a capsule toy, a collectible little capsule toy, and I've been informed by somebody who has played the game now already that my capsule toy is in there, and it looks quite accurate. Apparently, it looks quite good. I was kind of hoping that they were going to send me like an image, like a PDF or a JPEG, some kind of image. That's what I'm getting at, of that capsule toy of me. And my plan was I was going to try and get that tattooed on my arm or somewhere, at least. And yeah, I still might do that if I can get a nice image of it. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, crazy. Going to be in Shenmue 3. But there's a little bit of kind of frustration there. I have named that character Shemuzo. So the name of this channel, of course. Which means I'm going to have to keep this channel's name forever. I was kind of erring on changing this channel's name because, you know, my attention on gaming and what this channel will do in future has shifted, and moving forward I can see it's going to be quite probably, I'm going to be covering a lot of VR stuff. It's just my thing these days. So I did kind of want to change my channel name a little bit to reflect that. But if I do that, who the fuck is the Shemuzo character in the game? It's nobody. Should have called it my real name. Now that's future-proof for any channel name changes, but that's a minor. Yeah, really psyched for it. And of course we know this isn't going to be the final game. So those strange, special, kind of supernatural changes to the game that I mentioned earlier, that were hinted at the end of Shenmue 2, those might not even come in Shenmue 3. Those might be further down the line. But it did kind of suggest, you know, maybe fireballs or some kind of magical element to Ryu's development. But yeah, those might not even come in Shenmue 3. We do know that Yu Suzuki's planning for at least Shenmue 4 and 5. He would prefer to get the saga done in another 2 games at least to fit it all in, because of course the original story was written before, you know, any of these came out, and it was a really, really big, long saga. He had to split down into, originally I think it was 9 different parts, I think, or 9 kind of chapters. I think the first game was the first chapter, and I believe the second game was the second and third chapter. Is that correct? Someone can put me right on that. But I know the second game comprised more than one of those original chapters, and the third game certainly won't complete the series. So the success of the third game will really have a big impact on what happens with Shenmue in the future. You'd like to think that future Shenmue games will be a lot easier to come by. You know, the new team is assembled, they've got an engine built, they've got a lot of new assets built already. So, and we know they've already got 80 hours worth of music ready to go. So they don't even really, I'm assuming they've still got spare music to use in future Shenmue games. So, point being, they've got a lot of stuff done now via Shenmue 3, which should make Shenmue 4 and potentially 5 easier to produce and cheaper to produce and quicker to produce. So yeah, really hoping that this game does well and sells enough to spur them on to continue the series, because that's what we really want, is an end to the story, to see what happens, to see Ryu get his revenge or whatever's going to happen at the end with Landy, because he may have a showdown with Landy in this game, but it won't be the final showdown. That's pretty clear that this story is going to go on, hopefully, if it does well. So let's just hope it does. And yeah, you know, reviews are going to make a big impact on that. You know, like I said, this game apparently does feel like the old Shenmue, so it might feel dated to some people in terms of the controls or the kind of general feel of the game. But I hope that Shenmue atmosphere, you know, that Shenmue gravitas can grab people in the same way that it did. Because, you know, these days, you know, the gaming market is a mixed bag these days. You do have a lot of kind of retro-inspired games. There's a broad depth, you know. There's a hell of a lot of those huge, epic, you know, massive sandbox games where you have all that freedom to cause destruction and mayhem and all the rest of it. But there are more kind of sedate, story-driven narratives. There are more kind of retro feel games out there. So let's just hope that, you know, reviews can appreciate Shenmue for what it is and aren't too distracted by the potential for it to kind of, you know, feel a little bit outdated in some respects, because it's to an end. I think, yeah, it's to have to keep that that sedate feeling to the gameplay. Although, of course, don't get me wrong, there are action sequences in it as well, and combat. Of course, the original Shenmue started life as Virtua Fighter RPG. Was the original intent for it, and the first two games had really good combat, and of course you improved your combat as you went through the game, learning new moves and techniques. Feedback from people that have played the demo that came out the other month said that the combat has been changed, and some people weren't happy with those changes. I'm obviously going to reserve judgment until I've actually played it myself. I did enjoy the original combat, but, you know, I trust Yu Suzuki in his choices, and we'll see how that works out. But just really psyched for it. Shenmue 3 is coming out next week. Oh my god. Oh my god. Get your pre-orders in now. Come on. What are you waiting for? Alright guys. See you later. Bye-bye.